Yeah, I mean, that was a funny one because I can't tell people. You tell me, because I see a lot of people after the Mavericks get this pick gifted to them, as it were. A lot of people, even some prominent people in sports media, especially people who don't cover the NBA, saying, "Come on, this is rigged. Come on." And there's a bit of a pattern. I'm trying to look up the pattern where the
Yeah, it
Cavs,
was when the Cavs lost LeBron, the Pelicans lost Chris Paul, and they lost Anthony Davis. And I think this is the fourth time.
yeah, whoever loses something terrible, they're given a solid by the lottery gods, and it's just happening too much. I believe it was a 1.8% chance for the Mavericks to get this number one pick, right? And I guess what I wonder is when I see a lot of this commentary, do you actually think the NBA is rigged? Is what I want to ask a lot of people, because I think it's fun to consider. It's fun to think about. But gun to my head, if I have to be right, I don't think it's actually rigged. I think that this is chance and that we tend to see patterns after the fact. I don't think it's actually rigged. At the same time, I understand the appeal of saying it is, and I understand the appeal of believing in it. And they talk all this talk about all the mechanisms that are there to ensure that it's on the up and up. And it only makes me grow a little bit more suspicious because it's almost doth protest too much. And they talk about, and we have an accounting firm, Ernst and Young, and they see every part of the process. And now in my head, I'm thinking about, I like the idea of Ernst and Young being in control of this and deciding as the accounting firm to do you a solid. They're going to give your bucks. Ernst and Young right now, Ryan, they're deliberating over whether the Bucks have been appropriately rewarded with the incoming trade with the Spurs, or if you're getting the number one pick next year. That's what Ernst and Young, those two guys.
Well,
I don't know if it's two guys.
Getting the number one pick for half a decade because they don't have theirs for that long. But
oh no, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, Ernst and Young will factor that in. They'll figure out a way around that. They're so clever. Poor Bucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it was rigged, shouldn't the league rig it for the Bulls, who have just been stuck in no man's land forever now, rather than like the Mavs, who are in a little bit of a smaller market? And
look, I don't question why Ernst and Young does what it does. I only accept that they've got a vision and a plan, and the way people trust God, I trust Ernst and Young. No, I think the way to do it is that you guys are maybe going to get a first round pick in the trading of Giannis, and that pick will pop, perhaps, potentially, but maybe. No, I'm more of a mistake theorist
than Young.
Yeah, I think things happen more by happenstance. You think things happen more directionally sometimes. Do you think it's rigged? If I have to gun to your head, you have to be right.
Gun to my head, it's not rigged, but I can actually understand why everybody's suspicious. Because, look, Derrick Rose to the Bulls, Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. There have been a lot over the course of our lifetime. I guess Ewing might have been before I was alive, but they talk about it all the time.
And frozen envelope.
It would be. They should show the lottery. Why don't they? Why do they do it like they do it?
I mean, I don't know why they do it exactly like they do it. It's a strange system too. It's very odd how just this random chance completely alters the fortunes of your franchise, and it's prevent against tanking. I don't
totally understand it either. There's this point where this team can't get below. This is the worst pick. Yeah. I don't understand how that would weight the ping pong balls, and I'm sure it's been written about and explained a lot of times, and I just haven't buried down and figured it out and okay, that makes sense. But it is such a weird system. Oh, I had a proposal. I'm interested what you think about.
Oh, no. I want to hear your proposal. I've got one quick just riff on what you're saying. One of the reasons, NBA, that people believe it's rigged is because you are literally mining the reveal for as much drama and suspense as possible, which does undercut the sense that this is just, I don't know, a process when you're just extending the pain and suspense of revealing the cards as opposed to just showing everybody here's the lottery.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. But yes, you were
Well,
saying.
then, like, why don't they show how those get determined? That would be much more. Wouldn't there be much more suspense there? And I don't get it either. Like, but well, is it because like there's so many Sixers balls that you keep pulling them, and it would be like really boring? Like once
I have a vague memory of seeing the ping pong balls pop around when I was a kid.
Yes,
and I can't remember if that was something they showed me before or if they actually showed me the real process or not. But I would like to see that process. I would like to see that.
Here's what I would do if I were in charge of the NFL and the NBA. I would say everybody outside the Final Four, so the conference championship participants, has an equal weight to win the lottery. And that totally takes away any incentive to be bad. That means you want to please your fans who are there that
totally
night.
Agree.
Even if you're the worst team in the league, you're going to give it your best effort. And I don't really care about the idea of, like, I don't think it's that unfair to elevate somebody who lost in the second round of the playoffs and make them into a contender with like a big piece. I think that would be totally democratizing the system.
I agree. I think whatever is happening now isn't exactly working because now the conference imbalance, again, it's been perpetual and now it's just getting crazier. You've got Dallas getting the number one pick, and now you've got the Spurs just set up on deck to get Giannis. Whatever is happening is not democratizing the sport anyway, so it is a failure in that regard. And I wonder, there are different things you could do. They've tried these different things. They tried to prevent tanking by changing the weighting, and yet these teams still tank. And I wonder if you could even do something where it's just your order of how you finish, but it's 2-year delay on it. So there aren't going to be many GMs who want to tank and under the hope that 2 years later you get a top pick. That's one idea I'm throwing out there. But yeah, I don't think it's really accomplishing what it's necessarily set out to accomplish, but it's entertaining. And I think people like thinking the NBA is rigged. I think they like following it like you follow professional wrestling. There's an appeal to that whole thing. Having worked for the NBA, I don't think they're competent enough to rig things in the way people think. I think it's a compliment to Adam Silver that people believe this stuff. I don't.
Yeah, and what about like all of the Mavs getting hurt that allowed them to even qualify for the lottery instead of like making the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think that Nico Harrison got a phone call from the NBA and said, look, you need to make this trade. You're going to get crushed. But don't worry. Kyrie's going to get injured. You guys are going to lose enough games. And then we're going to reward you with the number one pick. I don't think that happened. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think he just got stupidly lucky. And then it's really funny because people then go, oh, can't fire Nico. Things are great. Because he got this 1.8% chance of something happening.
This had to be a call from the owner, though, like to trade him, to trade Luka. It's not like this rogue GM just traded this like generational asset. It was some combination of the owner not wanting to pay him for $60 million a year, given how his habits were perceived, plus the GM not liking him. So
I mean, we're going back down the old Luka.
To think that this was like Nico acting as some individual agent who was given all of this power from an absentee aloof owner. There's no way.
Well, I think it's like a lot of collective decisions, right? We have a docket that we discuss and we are in conversation. We can convince each other of what the right thing to do is. And I think a lot of choices are like that. So I don't pretend to know exactly how it went down. I think Nico wanted to do this. I think the owner was either talked into wanting to do this or proposed it to Nico. I don't know what the flow chart was there, but I think they both wanted to do it. And if Nico didn't want to do it, you've got to quit, man. You can't just, if it's going to be the most infamous trade ever, you can't own it. You can't wear it.
I think they both wanted to do it. I think that this was a team game.
It was, and it's worked out now. I mean, here's the question people will ask.
What if they get the casino built now too? Just how hot does get?
It's all coming up, Dallas.
Man, Mark Cuban, the luckiest man on the planet. Like he retained this 27% stake that is now probably worth another $250 million because of this lottery win.
I mean, the man has always been good at timing. Or not always, but he's got some instances of being good at timing. Yeah, this question's getting asked, but I don't know. Would you have traded Luka for the guarantee of the number one pick in this way that it has arrived? We're getting Anthony Davis.
The answer is yes. Now that we saw like sucking wind in the playoffs on the Lakers, Luka, but the answer could very well be no. If I'm going to say this in a way that we won't get in trouble. If LeBron's body regimen strategy gets adopted by Luka, and then all of a sudden he looks like he should be in a comic book movie next year.
That would be a lot of fun. That'd be funny. I mean, Luka's one of these guys where that's a prospect who should have gone number one, where it was pretty clear when he was coming in. Unlike with Cooper, you could see why and how Luka would be a superstar and how he would control the offense. You don't really have that with Mr. Flagg. Luka's at a crossroads. It could go in a variety of directions. I don't think that team, I don't think those two, I think that as much as we're often accused in media of reveling in drama, and we will maybe end on the Belichick situation to confirm that, there almost hasn't been enough murmurs about potential drama with that dynamic. That dynamic between Luka and LeBron reminds me of Kobe and Shaq, but it's reversed. The young guy in this instance is the guy who's maybe loafing a little bit and getting out of shape. And the old guy is the guy who's committed to his body and doing everything possible to perform at peak levels. That's a setup that can create a lot of resentment, as it did with Kobe and Shaq in reverse. And so if it continues and the Lakers continue to disappoint, man, it could be quite a cataclysmic, very entertaining breakup.
Throw Redick in there too, and it's going to be very entertaining.
Oh, the Redick. Redick took sides. Redick said that Luka was fat in his closing press conference without saying it by name.